Welcome to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm Nichole Eaton, author of the books Rock Your Soul and Rock Your Comeback, as well as an intuitive therapist, and I'm here to remind you of your power. This podcast focuses on mindset and inviting the universe in to create a life that feels so good, so aligned, and so authentic. I hope you're ready. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nichole Eaton, and this episode is so much fun. I was able to sit down with Christy Forsyth. She and I were former business partners, and we still collaborate on things like our retreats called the Quantum Globe Retreats. And word on the street is we've got another one coming, so you're going to want to keep an eye out. But in the meantime, we wanted to make sure we were helping you have your glow up, which also means helping you figure out how to navigate these energies. Specifically, we're coming off an eclipse and we've got Mercury retrograde. So we wanted to get you real prepped on learning how to slow down, getting present in your life, reprioritizing some things, and really checking in with your core values and what's most important to you. You're going to love this episode, and it would mean a ton to me if you wouldn't mind sharing it, tagging a friend, leaving a positive review. It's always so, so helpful. So that's what helps us keep going. And you can keep your eye out for these glow ups once a month. So you'll have all the information you need to have one incredible month. And if you want to work with me, make sure to check out my website, NicholeEaton.com, and the Comeback Club membership. We've got a Wealthy Woman Masterclass this month, but access to the Comeback Club gets you access to every single masterclass I've ever created, every single course I've ever created, plus a million other things. So check it out, book a session. I'd love to hear from you. Bye. Christy and I are recording this at 2:22. So I don't know. I feel like this is an episode you're going to want to listen the fuck up, take notes, have your little notepads out.
It's our yes number. It's our hell yes number. Our you're on the right track number.
So if you've tuned in, you're doing the right thing with your life.
I also love that you pointed out that it's 2:22 because I thought it was 3:22. I started my day a little earlier today, so my whole schedule, I'm so confused.
It's perfect. And this episode's dropping today if you're listening, but this episode's dropping next week, and we are riding out the tail end of this retrograde energy, and I just want to know how you're feeling.
Bro. It's just so slow. I don't know. April's an interesting vibe, although I do feel like we're on the other side of that solar eclipse now, right? And I felt like it wiped the slate clean in so many ways. I just felt so much relief on the other side of it. And I know so many people have, where it just leveled out the intensity of it. But now it just feels a little slower than I would prefer. But that has been the experience of my life recently, has been slower than I would prefer, because I've been in this place where some of you guys know I've had this issue going on with my shoulder, and I'm essentially like a one-armed Christy at this point. My arm doesn't work. I have to lift it with the other arm to get it to move. It's rough. It's been rough and it's been interesting, but I've watched this whole process with this be slowed down for some reason. And I don't love it, but I also trust in it. And just like Mercury retrograde, I find that there is value in the slowdown, value in the pause. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that looks like right now as this is taking so long. But here we are. And we're just flowing with it.
We're definitely flowing with it. And I mean, I can't even imagine not being able to use I hurt my middle finger. I know it's not the same as not being able to lift you or use your arm, but I do aerial, and I guess I rely a lot on this little guy. And I was struggling this week. It was the hardest aerial class I've done in a long time. But I think there is, and I think that's, the other thing is the universe is asking us to slow down right now, to rest and reflect I know for me, like there is part of me that wants to create more, do more, but then there's part of me that just feeling like I need to wait it out. And like just let it be. But I also think even like talking about our middle finger, talking about our arm, talking about all this stuff is like, I also think this is the universe guiding us to do things in a different way than we traditionally would, like to figure it the fuck out, to try to find ways of doing things that are different than maybe we've been doing.
Yeah. And that's like, honestly, it's forcing me to do that. I mean, look at my hair. I can't do my hair the way that I typically would do my hair. Right. So in all seriousness, it's like asking me to do things differently in my life. I found that it has slowed me down, and I'm by nature, just like my build, I'm a projector in human design. I'm a Taurus in astrology. I'm slow as fuck. I'm built to be slow as fuck. However, there are parts of me, like I have a lot of Aries placements, and those Aries placements like want to go, like just want to like hustle and do shit and take care of shit. So I always have that back and forth in my energy. And so this has been really challenging for me, but at the same time, just calling for me to sit back and reflect on things. And that's what Mercury retrograde does for us anyway. So as I've been sitting back and reflecting on things, that's exactly what's coming through. It's like, okay, so maybe I need to restructure this thing over here, and maybe I need to approach this in this way. And even like stuff like exercise, everything hurts right now. So it's hard to even do other forms of exercise with the exception of walking. But I'm finding that I like just need walking in my life right now. So maybe that's part of the purpose, is like just to get me in the flow of that and really honoring that. I know that my energy field works really, really well when I'm connecting regularly, preferably daily, with the earth, like feet on the ground, connecting with the earth. And it's really forced that. Here in New York, it's been still pretty chilly, but I'm still doing more walking than I would be outside because I'm in this situation where I'm one armed.
I know that's not funny, but it like just when you say one armed, it made me giggle.
One armed.
One armed Christy. I was calling Mercury retrograde a stripper to one of my clients, or no, it was to the Comeback Club. That's what it was. I was like, Mercury retrograde's a stripper, and I like died laughing because I meant it as like it strips away all the things that we think we need that we don't actually need. Not that you don't need your arm, but like I think that sometimes we go too hard with like working out, and then sometimes just to get back to the basics and do some of those really basic things that are helpful to us, whether that's getting back into a meditative routine, getting back to walking, like getting back to the basics and the simplicity. Because one of the things that's been on my heart, to be perfectly honest, is like, I just wrote Rock Your Comeback. I had a really big year last year, and I got into this year and I was like, what the fuck am I doing with any of it? Like, what is that? Like, where's this? What do I do now? Like, it was almost like I crashed. And I was like, well, if I'm not working actively on a project, like it was almost like a freeze response of like, I don't know what to do, and I don't know what to do with my energy. And it felt really overwhelming. Like, and then I started getting in my head of like, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong place. Maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. And then, obviously I came to the conclusion that I literally am not built to do anything else. Like you guys are pretty stuck with me in this shit that I do. But I think it has just been at like, I don't need to be doing as much. And all of the intellectualizing I've had to do this year to produce the book that I just like released, because it is heavy on the, how do I get out of my own head? How do I get out of this black hole? And that's incredibly valuable. And I will die on the hill that if you know yourself and you know your intuition and you know your thoughts and you know how to manifest, it will change your life. However, for me, I needed to shift out of that into like, okay, how am I actually living my life? I read this thing that said your life is measured in a series of adventures. And something that I am really like die hard on, a core value of mine is like adventure and being like active and trying new things. And that's something really important to me. And so I've been like craving adventure and feeling kind of flat because I didn't have anything. And then I go to the Bahamas last week and I'm like swimming in the ocean with pigs. And I'm just like, just sitting, sipping drinks, in the sunshine. And I was like, okay, like this is a core memory. This is an adventure I'll remember. And I want to be living more in the moment and not just living entirely in my head, analyzing things. And I think it's really easy for people in the self-help world to live in that space. And again, I will die on the hill that that space is incredibly valuable, but it's also really valuable to be so deeply in the present moment and so deeply in your body, whether that's through walking through meditation or through just connecting with yourself or to have your phones off. I unplugged for 5 days. 5 whole days. I was unreachable except for one text I sent Christy somewhere by Paradise Island. Like I was just like, hey, still alive, love you, bye. But it was so nice to just not be unplugged. And I said to the kids, I'm like, would you guys want to go in airplane mode once a week? Like, what do you think about like spending Saturday just untouchable? Because there was something about just being unreachable. All of the things, all the problems, all the things that were going on for me that I was having a hard time with just like stopped existing for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting, right? When you ask for things from God, from the universe, from the angels, whatever that is for you, we get it, because I'm just sitting here connecting with this idea that I've been asking for quite some time, to be more connected with that divine feminine within me, that flowier aspect of myself, that receptive aspect of myself. And again, like by design, I'm slow. I'm a little bit lazy, honestly. Like if I honor my design, maybe that's not the best word for it, but it's by design, right? And so this leaning into this receptive energy and letting some things come to me, letting some things develop for me where I can shift into a little bit more ease with things. Now, it doesn't feel as easy to be one-armed in my life right now, but like if I look at kind of other parts of my life right now, it does feel a little slower. It does feel a little easier. And I'm watching, like, even if I just like back off on a lot of these things that I've been going hard on for so long, I'm watching things start to develop for me because I backed off, right? Because I shifted through my one armedness and all of this experience into being receptive, right? And I'm just like, okay, whatever. Like I'm just gonna let whatever wants to happen happen. And because of that, it's developing and it's happening. And I turned my magna on. That's what I call it. My
Yeah.
feminine magna, right? Where like I'm not out seeking and searching in that masculine energy and the do, and it becomes the be. It becomes the letting it come to me and letting myself receive. And in some ways, it's like I'm letting myself receive the gifts that the hard work that I did in the past is now circling back around. And I think it's because I had to get the fuck out of the way.
Yeah, no, I literally said that to a client today. I'm like, this is everything you've been planting seeds for. Like everything that you've been planting seeds for is happening. So I think that for a lot of people, like, have felt very frustrated with manifesting. I know I have just transparently this year. And I think this is where things start coming in. I know for me, I'm on airplane mode and I come back and I've got 3 big opportunities at my door. And it's just like I've been busting my ass for different opportunities. And of course I go on vacation and I'm unreachable for 5 days and I have 2 missed calls from major things and 3 other opportunities that just like show up. Like that's very annoying. I've been busting my butt. But I mean, that goes to show you that just like our neutral essence of being, of taking it easy, of simplicity is also a magnet for the things that we've been working at, is also a magnet for our desires. It's also a magnet for things to come find us rather than to just, we can feel safe in just attracting what's meant for us instead of having to go force and push. And I mean, you and I know that the world we're in is the world of forcing and pushing. Like the world of any kind of like online coach or online therapist, it's like if you don't post enough content or do enough, like you're not going to get seen or whatever. But the reality is like, I don't know. I guess this year I've been really into like, I'm not sure what exactly matters based on the day.
Retrograde too. I think there's been this call. I mean, there's always that call to retreat and reflect. right? But I also, when I was connecting with the energy around it, heard give it some room to breathe. Right. So I think that there's value in all of us asking ourselves that question. In what areas of my life do I just need to give some space to breathe? I also took that literally and have been doing some breath work
Yeah.
around things, right? Because there's a healing and a balancing that's available to us during these retrogrades, especially Mercury retrograde, that it's harder for us to access at other times in the energy. So if we can use this energy, we're in Mercury retrograde until the 25th. So there's this time to just like allow this healing process in whatever ways we're feeling called to heal. And while we're over here focused on our healing, what seeds have we planted that we're giving room to breathe and develop and grow without us overwatering them or over tending to them? Maybe we want them to grow up a little bit like wild weeds instead, and they're growing exactly the way that they're supposed to, in a way that's really strong and powerful and natural versus something that we're trying to force.
I always think of it as the example, and I want to say it was Abraham Hicks, but somebody I was listening to was talking about how if you plant a pumpkin seed and then you go out the next day and start stomping on the ground because it's not there, like it would be ridiculous, right? Because we know that things take time to cultivate and to grow and to blossom, and that we just need to take good care of it essentially for it to do that. And I think that's exactly what we're saying here is that it may not be in your perceived timing and your perceived timelines, but maybe that seed is growing on its own. Maybe you've already done enough. And I keep thinking about that with like the work that we're doing. Like maybe you've already done quite a bit. Like me going on vacation, I didn't share anything. I didn't post anything. I was invisible for 5 days. In my head, I was like just completely gone. But again, like maybe the stuff you've already done is adding up. It's all adding up in your favor. And I think that's like a really like one of my favorite thoughts is that like it's all adding up. All the things that you've done in the past, all the thoughts you've had, all the actions you've taken, all the steps that you've gone towards, it's all adding up. And now, like Christy was saying, we've got to find that divine feminine, that present being, like me just being on airplane mode for 5 days on a boat. Like that was the divine energy of not having to do, not having to be, not having to be anywhere, anything, anyone. Like that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, especially for those of us that are females or identify more with that feminine energy, the female body, it's built differently than a man's body, right? And we're more cyclical. We are more like there are times where we are more energized, and there are times when we need to go within and rest more and rejuvenate and all of that. And so we're already naturally built to kind of go with this natural flow of things where there's a time where we're going to feel like we're energized and we want to be creating and doing things and out there exploring options and building on things. And then there's also these times that we want to balance that out and just take the rest and let that develop. Again, like giving that the space to develop, giving that the space to breathe and grow. And so I think when we allow ourselves to lean into that feminine energy, it allows for that a little bit more. Like we don't always have to be on. We don't always have to be in that masculine energy, which is a little more consistent, steady action. Sometimes I look at men and the way that they are able to do that and feel a little jealous
So
of
annoying.
that. Yeah, it is annoying. But again, like our society values that, right? That like always doing. And I think that feminine energy is learning how to be and learning that flow of how do I feel today and how do I honor myself today. I think that if we can do better at that, we are also not going to find circumstances that come up for us where God, the universe slows us down. I mean, let's keep it real. That's what is happening to me right now is I am being forced to slow down and to listen to my body and honor my body. And thank you, God, I'd like my arm back. I've learned my lesson.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to keep flowing with that. But how many of us are slowed down in one shape or form? Like, I'm sure you see it a lot with the people that you work with too. I'll see people get major health conditions. I'll see people have circumstances in their life that are so all consuming that it requires them to step out of all of the things that their ego wants to focus on and focus on the need, what has to happen, right? And there's a reset in that. There's a reminder in that we should be listening to ourselves and tuning in with ourselves sooner. Because I think if we can do that, we can avoid a lot of pain and struggle in the future. Lesson learned, I gotcha.
Well, and I know for me, like taking that intentional time to go rest, I feel so much lighter. I mean, just it's been a rough start to a year for me. I don't know if I've had this rough of a start to a year ever, ever. And this year I felt not like myself. I felt very heavy. I felt very unmotivated or uninspired. And so I really feel like I just needed a little sunlight, ocean, and airplane mode to reset. And you don't have to do that to reset, but like whatever you can do to like really disconnect from your day-to-day reality, I think is massive. Like that, I feel so much more like myself just taking 5 days out of 365 just to truly disconnect. And I was sitting there watching everybody like we're on this like private island for an entire day. It's turquoise waters, the most beautiful thing you can see, and all I can see is like everybody's on their phone still. And I'm just like, but look, there's the fucking ocean. There's pigs. We swam with pigs. That was fucking terrifying. That was so scary. I don't recommend that. No, I'm just kidding. Kylie loved it. It was like her favorite part, but they're like dogs. But they're like 200-pound dogs and they'll jump on you and they have hooves. So just for perspective, but
They're so cute. They're so cute.
not my thing, not my thing. They smell weird. But yeah, so I'm just like looking at people on the phone. So there may be opportunities in your life to disconnect, to unplug, to rest, to relax that you're not actually taking because you're too busy being plugged in, turned on, answering emails, dealing with stuff that doesn't need to be dealt with. Like there may be opportunities you're missing simply because you haven't taken a minute to purposefully slow down and do something different. So this is your sign from Christy's bum arm. We should make a meme and it's
Let
just
my
your
arm teach you a lesson so you don't have to lose your arm too.
So you can use your both arms today and tomorrow, should you have the ability to. But yeah,
I want you all to raise both arms in memory of me, in honor of me. Oh,
so say not in memory, Jesus. Yeah, I think this is a sign that when you're able to do that, when you're able to slow down, I really think that we're stepping into a phase of receiving. Like I feel so good energetically about May. I told my online membership earlier today, I was like, I feel so good about May. And I have. And what's funny is like even coming into this year, energetically, I felt great about 2024. My beginning of the year has proved a little otherwise, but I don't think that's the culmination. I think that's just the release of all the shit that wasn't supposed to be, like all the blockages, to be honest. Like I think for both me and for my clients, like I've watched a lot of things get released that have they're just old, but they've overstayed their welcome. They don't belong there anymore. They cannot compare and match up and be on the same level as you and where you're at in your life and where you're going. And so I think that there was a lot of stripping happening this year. But I think it was releasing the blockages that were keeping you from getting to your next level, getting to your next phase, getting to your next success, getting to your purpose, getting to who you're supposed to be in the world, getting to a version of you that you're like, this is the fucking best.
Exactly. And I agree with you completely about May. I started to work on my monthly reading for my membership, and it feels so different from April, right? But like this is the work that we need to do in order to be able to enjoy May, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily necessarily like the physical work, but the soul work, the emotional work. And if we can just honor it, I think that there's so many blessings on the other side of it. I also think that it's so important that we're not holding on to anything too tightly or trying to force or control anything right now. It's all about the flow, which is that divine feminine energy too. It's honoring the flow of where it wants to take us because it's leading us into some really incredible places. And I think that even as early as May feels great. And not just because it's my birthday month, but because it's great. Taurus season is awesome though. It's just a good season.
I'm a Cancer kind of girl, you know that.
I love you and all of your cancerness, but I hate Cancer season. I'm like an emotional wreck all throughout the end of June and July.
Cancers really do get that like water flowing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I was just saying everybody's got their like seasons where they feel like they thrive. Everyone's got like, for me, February's always like clunky, and March too. I've never had like a February, March that will like stood out for me as like a really great time. And maybe that's because I'm from upstate New York and it was always like dark, cold, dreary, worst of the worst. You're so over winter by then, like that it just feels like it's never coming. And I have trauma. I think I have trauma. Yeah.
It's also Pisces though, right? That's a water sign. Water sign, when we're in water signs, like that tends to be emotional. I tend to do pretty well during Pisces season, but I'm a Pisces rising, right? And I like that intuitive, flowy Pisces energy, but Cancer season, another water sign, makes me so incredibly emotional. But it's helpful for us, I think, to explore that. Like, are there times that I feel more emotional or more impacted by the energy? And that looks a little bit different for everybody. There are themes, right? But that looks a little bit different for everybody. And it comes back to that idea of, can I just honor it? Right? I don't love that I cry my way through July. However, I know that there's like a healing in that, right? That's part of that flow too, and just honoring what needs to come up, what I need to heal, what I need to release. Because on the other side of it, then we step into Leo season and I'm like feeling myself and feeling lighter and feeling celebratory and all excited because I'm just like, yeah, like let's like enjoy the rest of summer. And that just works really well with me. But the point is like to follow your cycles, to honor your cycles, what that looks like. There's a time to be slow. There's a time to take action. And there's also a time to just like allow yourself to receive the blessings for all of the hard work that you've put in.
Yeah.
And then repeat.
I think we're coming into good energy. So if you are someone listening who has been having a challenging time and it's just been a rough couple months, like if you've had a start to 2024 like I have, hang in there. I know I'm feeling relief and I know a lot of my clients are feeling relieved. So when you said that earlier, I was like, yes, like I have felt like a weight has been lifted off my chest in the last like week or so. So I think that the eclipse came and literally just took everything with it. And I'm setting that intention that that's all going to continue to flush out. And like you were saying, different seasons, bring different results for different people. And you can reflect. Like, I think that's one of my favorite parts about this time period with retrograde, with the eclipse season. Like, it's a perfect time to reflect. What am I doing? Where am I going? What brings me joy? What do I need to focus on? Like I said, I kind of went from like that intellectualizing space where I'm just focusing on being in my body in the present moment. And that's my focus right now. I want to have as much fucking fun. I want to try new things. I'm like in that mode of just like, let's dive in, let's go for it. So you can reflect and just ask yourself, what am I needing? I'm needing more fun. I'm needing more friendships. I'm needing more connection. I'm meeting a bunch of girls tonight for dinner. I'm very excited about that. Like just prioritizing different things that feel valuable to you. Look at your core values and how am I going to include them in my life? Like I said, adventure is a core value for me. So like in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to 2 different concerts that I'm fucking ecstatic about. Like I'm planning on just having the best time of my life, So like you can design your life in the way that feels really juicy and good, but only if you know the things that make you feel really juicy and good.
Yeah. And also, Mercury retrograde is all about reflection, right? But it's also about reimagining. And so,
Yeah.
can we take advantage of this energy and reimagine? And I'm doing so much of this, reimagine where we want to go next and what that looks like, and start to plant new seeds while we're watching these other seeds over here sprout and develop and grow, because we're always moving on to the next part of the vision. And maybe we need to make some adjustments too to the vision, because maybe some things don't apply. We are nowhere near the same person that we were even a month ago. There's so much change that's happening. I think we're going to look back on this eclipse season and go, that completely changed my life for the better.
For the better.
I feel different on the other side of this. And then I'm watching so many things happen for me, and I'm seeing it, I'm watching it happening for me. And that was completely life-changing to me. And I think we're going to have a lot of gratitude for the process that we've been in, the work that we've done to get ourselves there.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly. You guys have got this, and we're cheering you on. And we're going to be coming at you at least once a month with these glow ups, monthly glow ups, and you're going to like them.
Yeah.
You're going to love them.
Or else.
Or else.
Or
Yeah,
I'll be my bum arm, flop it around.
All right, guys, make sure to check out the show notes to learn how to be part of mine and Christy's memberships, and to check out our sessions with us, books, all of the things that are in the show notes, and all the ways to follow both Christy and I. And we love you. We're cheering you on. Let us know how we can support you. Thanks for listening. Make sure to get a copy of my latest book, Rock Your Comeback, The Down to Earth Guide to Reclaiming Your Power, just about everywhere books are sold. Join the Comeback Club for exclusive access, masterclasses, and more. And I always love to know what you think, so make sure to shoot me a DM or leave me a review. Thanks for listening to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world. Now go step back into your power. The world's been waiting for you. But first, if you could, leave me a review or share with a friend. Thank you.